Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Warpbound podcast. I am your host, Brody, and with me today, as always, is my beautiful co-host,
Leo!
Oh, yeah. On today's episode, we're doing faction first looks. You excited, honey?
Yes, I'm excited for this.
All right, let's get into it. On the agenda today, we're going to be just doing really basic rundowns of every faction, and it's not going to be anything intense. This is going to be super beginner friendly because I want you, Leo, and also you, the audience, anybody who doesn't know too much about Warhammer, to be really comfortable this episode and to just kind of be here to understand when I say Necrons, what do I mean? You know, so that you have an image in your head. Or if I say Leagues of Votann, at the end of this episode, I'm hoping that when you hear these names, you'll go, oh, this is the kind of vibe and this is the kind of people that we're talking about. You know, you don't know every detail about them. You're not going to know all their facts and all their history and all their characters, but you're going to be able to go, you know, oh, I recognize the most common things about these factions. Or if you see them on the tabletop, you're going to go, oh, hey, that's Sisters of Battle, isn't it? You know, and you're going to be able to impress all your new hobby friends on how much of a Warhammer nerd you are. So just a little beginning primer for the factions, if you will. But before we get into that, we're going to be trying out a new segment that Leo came up with called Hobby Small Talk, where we just kind of open up the podcast with talking about what hobbies we've been up to. If it's Warhammer related, then bonus brownie points, but this is kind of for us to just talk about anything that we've been interested in. And also, I invite you in the comments down below to tell us what you've been doing as your hobbying projects, Warhammer or not. But anyway, honey, what have you been up to?
Well, I finished doing one beanie crochet.
Yeah, you're crocheting a beanie.
So I finally have 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then just not being on my phone.
Yeah. That's a hobby now, avoiding your phone?
Yes, because I've been good in reading, just reading.
Yeah.
On my phone. But it gives me a headache after hours of being on my phone.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I need to do stuff.
I get you.
And I want to do reading.
Yeah, you want to be more productive, if you will.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I like that. My hobbying has been pretty simple, to be honest. I've been doing some gaming. Recently, I've been playing a game called Outlast Trials, which has been quite the experience. Anybody who knows about that game knows what I mean. Anybody who doesn't, don't look it up.
All the screams.
If you like crazy, out-of-pocket horror games, or if you know the Outlast series in general, then I would 100% recommend playing it with your friends. It's super fun, super intense.
That's what he said.
Besides that, what I've been up to, I was building a World Eater Berserker the other day. I want to finish off. I have a couple more units of World Eater Berserkers to build to finish off my Red Tide. What are you doing?
We finished building the skulls.
The Lord of Skulls, yeah. Leo did finish Lord of Skulls recently. Beautiful model. I posted it on my Instagram. I think my Twitter too. At T1Shaker, if you want to go see Twitter. Or X, I should say, but whatever. I don't think I've been doing anything else too crazy in terms of hobbies. I've been slowly but surely reading Dracula. I finished a chapter of Dracula the other day by Bram Stoker. Pretty cool. But yeah, okay. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of this episode. You ready, honey? I think that it is valuable that we start with Space Marines. It's kind of where everybody starts, you know? Just everybody sees Space Marines first. Space Marines are the poster kid of the entire faction, or sorry, of the entire, universe. If you see a poster or an artwork or a video or a game, you're going to be seeing Space Marines. Space Marines are everywhere. They are the most popular thing. They pay the bills. They keep the lights on at GW headquarters. So this is where we're going to start. So in Space Marines, how do I start this off cool? They are elite super soldiers that serve the Emperor of Mankind as his angels of death and revenge and redemption. You remember the movie Hell's Reach?
Yes.
With Grimaldus? They send in elite. By the way, if you haven't seen the Hell's Reach movie on YouTube, go check it out. It's awesome. Like such a good YouTube film made by one dude. Amazing story. Go check it out. But Space Marines are hyper elite trained soldiers. They were like warrior monks, and they represent the absolute power of the Imperium. They're walking tanks with hyper advanced armor, and their weaponry that they carry into battle are basically like tank weaponry. They're absolutely massive. They're arbiters of destruction, and they organize themselves into different chapters. Each chapter has a different specialty. They do things a little differently. They have different weapons that they prefer, different tactics that they use, different colors that they paint their armor with. Because Space Marines are kind of like knights, you know. They represent their house and their traditions, and they have prayers and they have ceremonies and how you're inducted into the chapter, etc., etc.
Okay.
Um, Anything else that's kind of important for you to know? Space Marines are usually made up of very young male children throughout the Imperium. They're usually taken, either volunteered or abducted, depending on the
Oh,
chapter.
oh, I see.
By the age of like 10 to about 14, I think is the maximum limit to where like you start getting too old to accept the organs. And you go through
What?
extremely invasive surgeries where they add extra organs into your body and give you growth serum so that you get huge, your bones become more dense, your skin becomes bulletproof, your mind becomes larger, your eyes get improved so that you can see it at night, your sense of smell improves, you gain the ability to eat the brains of your enemies and gain their memories through one organ. Um yeah, they go through a lot of crazy shit. I'm not going to go through all the details, you know, but basically children either volunteered or kidnapped are forced into becoming Space Marines. If they survive, then they become Space Marines. If they die, well, they didn't become Space Marines.
Hmm.
Some Space Marine recruits don't die, but can't succeed onto the next path. So usually they become like scouts or they serve some other role. Or sometimes they become servitors, which are just like slaves, basically like cybernetic slaves.
The ones that have the weird things on the back.
Yeah, yeah,
The ones
yeah.
that are like really
When they
skinny.
fail, but like they're, it depends on the Space Marine chapter. But basically, you don't want to fail if you find yourself in a Space Marine thing. You don't want to, you don't want to fuck up. But yeah. So Space Marines, super soldiers, just the mega awesome super soldiers. They look amazing. They have the biggest range on the tabletop. Super fun. Is there any questions that you have?
What do they go through?
What do they go through in their training?
Yes.
So it changes from chapter to chapter. This is totally chapter dependent on what the chapter thinks is necessary for you to go through, for you to become a brother. They call everyone brother,
Brothers and sisters.
brother Grimaldus, brother this, brother that. No sisters because there's no female Space Marines.
Right. I was thinking about
The
sisters
only
of
sisters
battle.
are sisters of battle. They'll
Battle.
call them sisters because that's what the sisters of battle call each other, sister.
Yeah.
but but the salamanders. I'll give you one example of a chapter that I like a lot. So for instance, the salamanders have one ceremony where they'll take Space Marine aspirants, which are trainees basically, before they become full Space Marines. And on their planet world of Nocturne, it's a volcanic world, right? So there's volcanoes everywhere, ash. There's these creatures called salamanders, which are basically like huge dragons without wings, though. Very, very hostile planet. And the people that live there are very, very hard because of this, right? Like most Warhammer worlds, to be honest, because almost nowhere is not batshit crazy in some way. But on this volcanic world, there is a mountain that I can't remember the name of right now. I think it's called like Sindara, the Sindara Plateau or something. But it's an insane volcanic climb, and it's extremely dangerous, extremely deadly. And if you survive the climb and get to the top of the volcano and can get back down without dying, then you've proven yourself to the Space Marine veterans of the Salamanders, and
Mm.
you can become a brother. Which is just one example of some crazy shit that happens. And there are other Space Marine, like there's one Space Marine chapter called the Exorcists, which they are supposed to be specialized against like demons, is their essential
Mm.
application. They're like mini Grey Knights, but kind of a different thing going on with them. And the Exorcists, before they can become full Space Marines, have to allow themselves to be possessed by a demon and then survive the possession. And if they can survive the possession, then they get out. Now, it's not common to survive a possession, by the way. So it's absolutely insane.
So
But
only few of them gets selected.
that's most of the time for Space Marines. Like it's not a high survival rate to get through Space Marines. The surgeries can kill you. The training can kill you. Anything in between can kill you. You know
It's
what I
just
mean?
everything.
Yeah, it's just deadly. So only a very small percentage of the population, relatively, is eligible to become a Space Marine, and then out of that population that actually get taken into training, only a very small percentage of them are going to make it through to actually become a Space Marine. So it takes special people to become Space Marines. But any other questions? You think you kind of understand Space Marines?
Yeah.
So, from the newbie's perspective, after I just finished explaining this to you, how would you describe a space marine?
Superhuman.
Yeah.
Basically,
Superhuman.
they went through a lot through their trainings.
Yeah.
That only at the end, only a few percentage of them
Yeah.
get actually pass through. So when you see all those space marines, they're really special.
Yeah. To put it in perspective, a squad of 5 space marines has done more than armies of tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or even millions have been able to achieve in certain campaigns. Yeah, in certain worlds, because space marines are elite special operations soldiers. Basically, you send a small amount of them in, you get a whole shit ton done. And that's just how they move. You almost never see like 100 space marines fighting the same thing at the same time. If you see that, you're whatever the fuck is going on that needs 100 space marines all working together at the same time to take something down or defend something, like, you are screwed. But yeah, space marines are insane. But elite super soldiers that are extremely special people and get a lot of shit done. That's the basic vibe of space marines. I suggest that we get more into it in future episodes. We will. Trust me. Trust me. They are the main characters of Warhammer. They have way too much lore going on, so you're gonna know about them. Okay, you know what? I started off with Space Marines, and I have notes here, but who are you interested in learning about next?
I think the next one I want to learn about is the Necrons.
Necrons.
Yeah.
All right. So, this is a personal favorite of mine. I'm going to say that for every faction because they're all my personal favorites. But the Necrons are one of the oldest, if not the oldest species alive in Warhammer 40k. They go back millions upon millions upon millions of years ago, before
Really?
all the stuff that happened in 40k right now happened. And there was an event called the War in Heaven, which we're not getting into. Any Warhammer veteran that just heard that name right now is like, oh no, this just turned into a 3-hour podcast. Don't worry, we're not getting into the War in Heaven. But basically, a shit ton of stuff happened. The Necrons used to be fleshy people, and then they got turned into metal skeletons due to a deal that they made with someone that tricked them. We're not going to get into any of how that happened, but they
Damn.
became skeletons made of living metal, basically, and their souls were erased. So they no longer have souls. But they were so intelligent, and with their new metal forms, they advanced technology to such an intense degree that now in 40k, even though their technology is over 60 million years old compared to the rest of the technology that they're going up against right now, people from outside of the Necron faction think that they're using magic when they're actually just using science. But their science is so advanced that no one else understands it, so it looks like magic. You get what I'm saying? And the the visual vibe of Necrons are these skeletal metal creatures with green glowing eyes that march together in unison. No voices, no chanting. The only people that talk in the Necron places are usually more elite soldiers. That retained a little bit of their consciousness, because most Necrons are just computer programs at this point. Because when they were transferred into metal bodies, their personalities were basically wiped, and it didn't transfer over in the data. But stronger Necrons, like Necron overlords and special warriors and elite assassins and stuff, some of them managed to retain some of their personality. And in 40k now, some Necrons have actually gone crazy because of what happened to them. But without getting into all that, in 40k, Necrons are waking up on these worlds called Tomb Worlds. So Necrons, after they won the War in Heaven, they went to sleep. And their plan was, after we wake up in 60 million years, everything will have died. So we'll just take back over our planets, because they basically owned everything.
Yeah, back then.
And they were like, we'll just take our planets back, we'll set up camp, and,
Live life.
we'll live life and figure it out. They woke up and nothing died. Everything has gone to shit. Humanity is everywhere. The Eldar, which are like their worst enemies, are still alive. Tyranids are eating everything. The Adeptus Mechanicus are stealing shit from their tomb worlds and waking them up. It's gone batshit crazy, and the old men are really, really angry. Right? So Necrons are basically like waking up, like, oh fuck, what the fuck is going on? On my lawn. And then they start a fight because they want to, in their mind, they own it. Like, this is my world, and
It makes sense.
yeah, and the thing about Necrons is that they're finite. So they can't make more Necrons. necessarily. And they can repair themselves. Their metal can stitch itself back together. They can heal themselves, so it's not permanent damage. But when a Necron dies, it dies. And the Necron Tomb Worlds, them reawakening, would be a really really big threat, and it is a big threat. But it would be a much bigger threat if Necrons weren't so petty. They're really petty and they're really pathetic, and they'll fight with each other more than they fight anybody else because they want to prove that they're better than the other Necron.
Oh, I see.
So there's a lot of civil war and infighting in the Necron dynasties, but they're so strong that they can kind of afford to do it, because like
Mm.
another faction will try and get involved, and then they'll just go like smack them out, and it's like, no, we're having an argument. But Necrons are hyper advanced, ancient enemies of the galaxy, and they believe that they are supposed to own everything. They also have a really great Egyptian aesthetic going on, with
That's what I like
Egyptian
them.
headdresses and uh just like pyramids, like massive obelisks that float and teleport their troops back into battle.
I mean, one vehicle is like a pyramid.
Yeah. They have insane chronomancers which can manipulate time and physics through their understanding of
They
science.
used to be
Yeah.
humans.
Yeah, not humans. They were
Not hu-
Necron tier, but
Oh.
they were fleshy. Yes, they were mortal. They their weapons deatomize things at the molecular structure. Like they actually just turn them into ash, when they hit it. Uh they have some there's like some virus infected Necrons which kind of make them go crazy and make them think that they can eat meat, but they can't eat meat, so it like turns into a total nightmare gore fest. There's a destroyer virus, which makes some Necrons. Like, have you seen the Necrons on the spider legs with like the hands for axes and
Yeah.
stuff? They have the destroyer virus, which makes them kind of lose any other desire but to destroy things. It's very literal in the name, and so they
Oh.
they malform and change their body just so they can fight better because they don't care about doing anything else. While some Necrons have retained their consciousness enough to where like they want to do other things. Like one character, Trazen the Infinite, is this Necron that he's a community favorite, amazing character, and he just wants to go around collecting things for his museum. So he'll just go around stealing shit like artifacts, steal things from worlds, or he'll steal people. Like if he thinks like a Space Marine chapter is really cool, he'll like steal a Space Marine and have him like in his museum, just like frozen, And he's like, "Here's my Space Marine section," and he'll,
How does it work? Does he kill him? The space
no,
marine?
he preserves them, so he freezes them. This is like in time.
Oh, oh
Again,
wow.
hyper advanced technology, like way beyond any of the other factions. The only reason why they're not completely destroying everything and just retaking everything is because of how crazy and hectic everything is,
And the
and they're
inside.
infighting. They're infighting, and also a lot of Tomb Worlds have died in their sleep. Some lords have died in their sleep. Some things have been like caved to natural disaster. Some Tomb Worlds have been invaded and raided, and before the Necrons could wake up and defend themselves, they were killed.
Oh.
Because some of the data's failing. So there's a lot of stuff that is slowing down the Necrons, so they don't just sweep everything, but they're still hyper advanced.
And they can't make more, so they just.
Right, which is kind of bad. But there's a lot of them. There's a shit ton of them. Don't get me wrong. There's a shit ton of them. Probably somewhere in the millions, enough so they'll never die fully in the Warhammer universe because they're not gonna let an army get destroyed in lore.
Yeah.
That's never gonna happen. But what are your questions about Necrons? By the way, I'm sorry if all my notes aren't perfect. I'm kind of just going off the cuff here so that I don't sound robotic. In a lore video, I would go much more into detail and have prepared a much crazier script and everything. But I want you to ask questions, so that you can help fill in gaps that you want to learn about.
It's just really interesting. Don't really have much questions. It's just really interesting how they were once normal, not
Mhm.
definitely how they became.
Yeah.
Definitely want to know how that happened, but that's gonna be a whole different video.
Well, I'll give you this one little glimpse
Mm.
into it. They agreed to turning into metal robots without knowing that their souls were going to be erased and all that.
Oh, okay.
And it was because when they were in fleshy form, they were super intelligent, still very petty. They would fight all the time amongst each other. But the only reason why they stopped fighting amongst each other was to fight something else that had pissed them off, So they were like petty
Yeah.
enough to like get over their troubles with each other to go kill someone else. But as soon as that ended, they started fighting each other again, like because that's who they are. But the reason why they agreed to become metal robots is because they were super prone to basically like giga cancer. Like they were just born with mega super turbo cancer, and most of them would die before like the age of 20 or 30
Oh.
because they were just so irradiated, and they couldn't handle the sun's rays at all. which is like you would think if they were so intelligent they would have figured out some kind of way to block out the sun's light, but they didn't. Um, I think they had like some kind of genetic cancer for some reason. But they became metal robots. The cancer went away, and they kind of steamrolled people in the War of Heaven. So they went crazy. But that's all I'll say. They had mega giga cancer, and then they turned into metal robots to get that cancer away.
Also, who's the person who? What's the whole deal with the one person that changed?
The one person that changed them. Oh, the Deceiver. His name. Um, Without getting too much into it, the War in Heaven was between the Necrons and their star gods, which were basically like physical gods that would float around and just kind of consume things in space. And then they
Ooh.
began taking form, into like actual personalities with their own personal thoughts. And the Deceiver gave them the idea of taking on a necrodermis form, which is the metal skeletons that you see them as today. And he said it will take away your cancer and you'll be able to defeat the other gods with their races that are not let it, like the Necron tier tried to make a deal with the other gods. Let's just call them the frog gods. These frog gods had this amazing magical power to make new life and seed planets and just create beautiful things, right? And the Necrons here were like, hey, can you cure the cancer for us? And the frog gods didn't believe in manipulating nature in that way. They just kind of like seeded life and then let it take its course. If it died, it died. If it didn't, it didn't. And they were like, no, the Necron, you have this genetic failure. This is how you evolved. We're going to let it take its course. And the Necrons here were like, oh, fuck you. And they decided to try and fight them. Then the frogs beat them pretty handily, but didn't kill them off because they didn't believe in doing that. Or for whatever reason. We don't know the exact reason, right? But they didn't fully eliminate them. And before the Necron tier were eliminated, they made a deal with the Catan. And they gained their necrodermis form. And using the Catan, the new powers that the Catan gave them, they started fighting back against the frogs and winning. But after they'd made the deal, it was too late. The soul transference, that's what it was called, the soul transference. They walked into these big furnaces. They basically got incinerated and then turned into this new metal Necron form. But their souls, in being incinerated, were being consumed by the Deceiver. So the Deceiver told them that it was like, oh, to get rid of your cancer and everything, but he didn't mention the fact that their souls were going to be eaten, and that their personalities would mostly be erased and all that. And well, after the leadership had realized what they did, they were mortified and they overthrew the Deceiver. They fought back against the Catan. They just kind of said fuck you to everybody, and went all out. They won the war, but just barely. They were really tired. Their resources had been exhausted. Their people had been stolen from to such an extreme extent that they all went to sleep under the Silent King's orders, the big leader of the faction, who still is the leader of the faction, by the way.
He's still alive?
Yeah, he's still alive and active. And they said after the Great Sleep, we'll wake up, retake the galaxy after no one's here anymore, because everybody's going to kill themselves anyway, and, well, we'll figure it out later. And it hasn't gone clean since.
It's gotten actually worse.
Yeah, the last thing I'll say about the Necrons is that the Silent King was drifting in the abyss of space, right? He had made the decision to do the soul transference. He was so horrified by what he had done, without realizing it at the time, that he banished himself to the abyss of space. So he like left the galaxy, and you know how like there's quadrillions, just space units of distance between each galaxy, right?
Yeah.
So he was just in the void where nothing exists, right? And in the void, he discovered that the Tyranids were coming. And he went, oh shit. And he popped a U-turn. Literally. And he started driving back, and he's like, I gotta wake everybody up, because what the fuck was that? And so he speeds back to the galaxy and starts spamming the buttons like, wake up, the Tyranids are coming, we have to prepare.
So they knew what the Tyranids were, or it was just something
it,
new?
It was just like, we've never seen a life form like this, and they're coming in the quadrillions of pectillions, octillions, however many, the highest aliens that you can imagine. They're just completely countless, and they're coming from all directions. And he was like, oh shit, I need to go back. And so he woke everybody up prematurely, I think, by a little bit. So they all started, all the old men were going, what the fuck, as they started waking up in the Tomb Worlds. And it was a whole thing. Okay.
So the next one I want to, yeah, but I want to see about the Tyranids.
You want to learn about Tyranids?
Yes.
Okay. By the way, let me know down in the comments if any of these descriptions were good enough, not good enough. What would you like to know? What do you think I missed if you're a Warhammer veteran? And we'll cover them in another episode that will be coming very, very soon. Okay, the Tyranids. We don't know where they're from. We don't know what they did before they got to our galaxy.
Oh shit.
We don't understand them. Like, we know their biology technically. Like, we understand how they function in a way.
Yeah.
But their origins are completely unknown. They are not from this galaxy. Like, so orcs are alien, right? They're not human, but they live within our galaxy. They originated in our galaxy. So they're a Milky Way native,
To this galaxy.
Right. So, like, they're alien, but, like, not that alien. Like, we recognize them. We're aware of them. We know them. We've lived amongst them for several years. I mean, against them, not amongst them. But you get what I'm saying,
Yeah.
right? Like, we recognize them. Hell, even Necrons, they were a Milky Way galaxy original.
Yeah.
So, in terms of Milky Way aliens, we all live within this one galaxy and interact with each other regularly. Usually killing the fuck out of each other, but we
we were
interact.
the original ones.
Exactly. Tyranids, we have no idea where they came from. Like, they are really alien. You know what I'm saying?
From yeah.
They're from a different galaxy. We don't know how many galaxies they've eaten. We don't know if this is what form they're in now, how long it took them to evolve. Like, we don't understand them. They're not us. They're not from here. They come from outside. You got what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they're really alien.
They're basically invasive.
Right.
Invasing this universe.
Exactly. They are 100% an invasive alien species from a different galaxy. Number 2, they care for nothing but consumption. They don't have politics. They don't have minds. They don't discuss things. They don't care. They just eat. They eat everything. When they arrive upon a planet, they eat the people. They eat the animals, the trees, the plants, the rocks. They suck up the minerals out of the dirt. They consume the oxygen in the air, all the gases in the air.
They're out there.
They drink all the water from every source that they possibly can. When they leave a planet, the planet is nothing more than a completely lifeless husk floating.
They don't eat the planet.
They don't like, technically there's things there, but they take everything of value.
The life source.
No
of
minerals,
that area.
no gases, no nothing. They rob everything. They eat the atmosphere. They eat the earth. They eat the water. They eat everything that lives on the surface.
Fast.
Yeah, they consume everything, and they use all of these resources to make the next wave of Tyranids.
Big Matt, Big Matt,
Big Matt. You're too big to be a thief. But the thing is, they're not too big to be a thief.
No, they're small.
They are completely managing it. And they're not small. They come in all sorts of sizes. The thing that makes Tyranids really, really dangerous is that they use these resources to rapidly make the next Tyranid. But here's the thing. Tyranids are controlled by an intelligence called the hive mind. So all Tyranids are being controlled by one thing. And there's never, as far as I know, it's never been suggested that this one thing has a location. Like, there's a physical queen living somewhere, and if we kill the queen, like, they all die. That's not what's been suggested.
Okay.
It's almost like the only words that I have. So, okay, let me find my balance.
Like a god?
Yes. The only words that can describe it are like a god, this distant being that we know is there, but we don't have a physical, tangible, killable thing, right? It just is, right? And it's this overwhelming intelligence that is so beyond our comprehension. It's almost like Cthulhu, like Eldritch Horror, the star invader, like, that we don't understand, never will understand, go crazy trying to understand, that kind of thing. Tyranids are very much the Eldritch Horror faction, or one of many Eldritch Horror factions in Warhammer, where they're wholly understandable. They're not human in any way. We look into their eyes, and you don't see a creature that you can understand. You see an all-understanding intelligence that just wants to consume you. You get what I'm saying? And so this hive mind controls all of these creatures at the same time. And it uses specific Tyranid leaders, right? So they'll evolve Tyranid units. And some Tyranids are leaders, which, imagine the hive mind is the main signal tower. And then Tyranids make up a chain of Wi-Fi, towers and what do you call them? The receiver. It's a signal receiver. Each Tyranid is a signal receiver. And the more of these signal receivers that are around, the stronger the signal is, and Tyranids can be controlled better. And Tyranids rapidly evolve because of this intelligence. This intelligence will watch a Tyranid get killed, right? Or see it through its eyes, right? Because it can see through all of their eyes at the same
Ooh.
exact time. If they're connected, right, to the synapse, they call it the synaptic connection. If it's connected to the synapse, the hive mind will see it and they'll go, okay, so Tyranids are weak to this, change it. And the next wave of Tyranids that are going to come out will no longer be weak to that.
So they're constantly.
So they're constantly evolving, and it's not evolving over the course of millions of years like other creatures. They evolve in the course of days. So you kill this wave of Tyranids with fire, the next wave of Tyranids will no longer get hurt by fire. You kill this wave of Tyranids with bullets, you'll never the next wave will no longer be weak to fire or bullets.
That is so strange.
Right? Like, that's crazy. The way that you defeat them generally is by cutting off the synaptic connection. Because if you cut off a Tyranid soldier's connection to the hive mind, they basically just become a creature, right? What makes Tyranids so dangerous is not one single Tyranid versus anything else, right? It's millions upon millions of Tyranids all moving to the exact orders of an intelligence that can see all the information on the board at the same time. You got what I'm saying? So none of them are thinking for themselves. They move due to the hive mind's command. So they move like a wave, a very coordinated wave, which makes them wildly more dangerous than just a pack of wild animals running in a certain direction, right? They have a plan. The hive mind has intentions, goals, objectives. It remembers people that are important to kill. It finds, like supply lines, everything, right? It's a hyper intelligent entity, right? And it controls all of these creatures underneath its synaptic connection, and consumes and consumes and consumes until eventually our best theory is that they're just going to consume everything in the galaxy, and when they're done with our galaxy, they're going to go dormant again and just drift until they find the next galaxy and then consume again.
So the Big Macs?
Yep, they're just stealing a lot of Big Macs, basically.
It is really. So what I'm understanding is that, imagine there's an army.
Mhm.
When you kill that army,
Mhm.
then it sends another one,
Mhm.
but with new information.
Mhm.
Is
And
that-
understanding.
Understand. If the army has like a has like a surgeon, no, sorry, like
A leader.
a leader,
Mhm.
that kind of gets calls from the main power, tells them what to do, or at least, it's just like a bunch of different armies that are just being controlled by one person, by one entity.
Mhm.
So there's any leader, it was just like a bunch of.
So the leaders, right? They look like leaders because the hive mind gives orders through them.
Yeah.
So they're more like speakers with a Bluetooth connection.
Yeah, speakers, yeah.
To the source, right? So hive mind controlling, it's uncountable how many Tyranids are out there because they're being produced so rapidly all the time, constantly. But it's controlling infinite number of Tyranids all at the same time. And through these leaders, it's sending countless orders throughout the entire galaxy about what it wants that specific Tyranid to be commanding the rest of those Tyranids underneath their command. So instead of talking about it in the whole scale, because Tyranids are everywhere in the galaxy and they're all being controlled at the same time by one thing, which is like insane to think about, that something is that intelligent to manage that much data.
Millions of them.
Right? Like quadrillions, again, like decillions, like decillions of points of data coming at them every single second, and they handle it all perfectly. That's insane, right? But let's talk about a single world. A Tyranid invasion comes, right? They float in on these massive living motherships, which are Tyranids themselves, right? Everything in the Tyranid army is a living creature, like, that has been designed for its specific role, evolved for its specific role. Even their guns are shooting out Tyranid things that, like, eat what they shoot at.
That is.
Yeah.
They love to eat, apparently.
Everything is a living creature. And their guns are like a part of their arm, and they shoot out like mucus and Tyranids, you know what I mean?
Ooh.
Like, so everything is a very biological thing, right? So they invade the world on their living motherships. The living motherships send out smaller ships, which then send these living drop pods that then spit out the Tyranids, right? These Tyranids will have like warriors. The warriors are the rank up, And these warriors have a strong synaptic connection, and they help connect the little dudes beneath them. And then these warriors, the step up will be like a hive lord, and then the hive lord chew this massive thing, and then this massive thing, and then this massive thing. The higher you go up, the more synaptic connection it has directly to the source of the hive mind. And if you start taking out the biggest connections, then the most damage is done to the rest of the chain, right? And then they have to regain the connection, and then you kill them, right? And then the connection's lost down and down and down and down, right? Until they basically revert back to savage animals that have no tactical command. And then they're usually really easy to kill. Like, they're still dangerous, don't get me wrong. They're still incredibly strong creatures, you know? But at the end of the day, as soon as they lose their tactical know-how and they're no longer being commanded by this immense general, then it becomes a lot easier to kill them.
I see. Nice.
Any other questions about our favorite Eldritch Horror babies?
Nope.
All right. Who next do you want to learn about?
The one that I just built, the eater, the soul,
The World Eaters?
the ward eaters, not eater souls.
Soul Eater. What up? This ain't no anime. What up?
You
Yeah, I know. Of course I know what you're referencing. So, the World Eaters, the angry version of the Space Marines. So, a long time ago, this is going to involve a little bit of Chaos Space Marines, too. A long time ago, a bunch of Space Marines decided that it was Civil War time. The Dark Gods tricked their dads, basically, these things called the Primarchs, and the Primarchs declared war on each other, and the Imperium was split in half. This is called the Horus Heresy. During the Horus Heresy, there's the traitors and the loyalists. The traitors are all serving the Dark Gods, the loyalists are serving the Emperor of Man. Biggest war in Imperial history, maybe the biggest war in the entire galaxy, except for the war in heaven. And crazy shit happens. After the Imperium kind of wins, mostly just survives, and the Dark Gods and their legions retreat. One that serves the god of war is known as the World Eaters. Okay, so to describe the World Eaters, their god, Khorne, is the god of blood and skulls. He just wants murder all the time. He is the personification of war and rage and violence, you know? And the World Eaters were, how do I put this? The tragedy of the World Eaters is kind of a bit of a story, like all the legions. But they basically lose their minds over the course of the Horus Heresy. And after they are beaten at Terra, when they couldn't kill the Emperor and take over Earth, they run into hell, basically, the warp. They all escape into the Eye of Terror, which is this opening into hell that's like constantly existing in real space, you know? So imagine that there's the real world and then there's the warp. And there can be rips in between these two places to where one can enter the other.
Ah, okay.
The Eye of Terror at the time was the biggest opening. So they all flee into there. For several thousands of years, they fight amongst themselves, basically revert to pure savagery, you know? And when someone is strong enough to command them, they will go out and raid into real space and try and steal supplies, armor, weaponry, anything that they can, before they go back into the warp and basically have to survive and fight amongst other Chaos Space Marines all the time. All the time. The World Eaters specifically, they are Khorne's personal legion, and they are the melee combat specialists, like on the tabletop. They are obsessed with melee combat and pure brutality. They think magic is for... They don't like magic. They don't do magic. Khorne doesn't like magic at all. There's no psychers in the World Eaters. Nothing like that. No magic. We don't do magic around here. We just beat you to death with a sword. They also don't think ranged is very cool. Pistols are for losers. You know, why use a pistol when you can use an axe and run at someone? You
Or
know,
just use your bare hands.
exactly. That you're starting to think like a World Eater. With the thing about the Space Marine legions is that I'm just gonna leave it to very basic vibes. They're red. They're angry. They scream blood for the blood god, skulls for the skull throne. You know, all the time. They're just obsessed with collecting skulls for their god and spilling blood for their god. Skulls.
Oh, skulls.
Skulls, because Khorne sits on a chair made of skulls.
Hey, I mean,
Just billions of skulls. He'll just sit on there.
he has a hobby collecting skulls.
And in his realm, there's just a river of blood that's just constantly flowing, and the way it keeps going is more war. As long as war is going on, Khorne is being fed.
Ugh.
As long as there's violence, Khorne is being fed. Any other questions? I kind of rambled there because I was trying to decide whether or not to go into detail or not. But to go into detail about these things, it's just too messy, you know?
Mm.
Like, the world leaders have Angron, their demon Primarch. He's super awesome. We have a model of him right there. He's beautiful. Big, winged, angry.
Oh,
He's,
he's a part of it?
yeah, he's
Huh.
Khorne's favored champion, you know, or one of Khorne's champions, greatest champions. Khorne's number is 8, so everything is 8, you know, his 8 bound.
His first number?
Yeah, all of his demons are named after 8, you know, or themed after 8. There's 8 of them. There's 8 of this. He's the 8 bound. He's the that. He's the that. Angron. So demons, when they're killed, they get banished to the warp, right? And then they have to work really hard to get back into real space, right? Angron, because the war leaders, or sorry, Khorne is so strong right now due to how much war and bloodshed is going on in the galaxy. Angron can come back every 8 days, 8 hours, and 8 minutes.
Damn.
You get it? Like
Yeah.
8. So like every 8 days, 8 hours, and 8 minutes, he can come back into real space and start it up again for Khorne.
Damn, he
Which is
really loves.
broken for demons, by the way. Them to be able to come back that fast is super, super dangerous. I'll cut that up in editing to be a little bit cleaner, because again, I was debating whether or not to go into real detail or like super vibes. And
Yeah.
the Traitor Legions, there's just so much to unpack there that I'll keep it to vibes. Okay, who's next?
Yeah, Scissors a bad on
Ooh, Sisters of Battle, the Nuns with Guns. They are an all-female order of religious zealots that fight under the name of the Church of the Imperium. So the way that they were created, again, so much to unpack there. Let's keep it simple. Some really bad happened where the Church and the Imperium almost or really did go into civil war, basically, and the Church gained way too much power over the rest of the Imperium. And so the Imperium, the rest of their sections, all rallied together and wrote in basically laws to make sure that the Church never gained that much power again. And in one of the clause, it said that the Church may no longer raise men at arms, which basically means an army, right? You can no longer have an army of any kind. You don't have a military, right? But a few years later, someone suggested, hey, wait, they said men at arms. They didn't say women at
Oh, I
arms.
see. That's just okay.
So, due to the way that the Imperium fucking works, that worked. And so they had a military of all female warriors because they could only not have men at arms.
Damn.
Yeah.
So we're nuns technically.
So yes, you are sisters of battle. And they wear power armor. They're not like Space Marines. They don't necessarily have all of that incredible boost, and they don't have the organs or any of the crazy, but they're kind of expected to do the same, which means that they're crazy. Like Sisters of Battle are wild. They do crazy. And the only thing they have is really good guns, really good armor, and a whole lot of faith. Which honestly the faith does more than the other two in Warhammer. They are amazing. Their vibes are some of the juiciest in all of Warhammer. Just to give you a semblance of understanding, they have fleur de lis all over their armor, which is old French Christian iconography. They come into battle with tanks that have organs that play religious music and shoot out missiles from the pipes, which makes no sense, by the way. That's not how organs work. But who cares? We
literally have the one of the
Yeah, we have that tank. They sing religious songs while they're fighting for the emperor in his name, in his holy glory. That's everything that they say is all religious. They staple scriptures into their skin, you know, when they believe they've sinned and they are not worthy of the emperor's love. They'll remove all their armor and basically go naked into battle with nothing but scripture, like burned into their skin. And they're trying to die in the emperor's name to regain, you know, their holiness and gain forgiveness for their failures, which usually just means like retreating or like not wanting to die is usually the sin that they commit.
Yeah.
They have these things called cherubs. You know how they're servitors, right? The like cybernetic slaves, right? They have these cherubs, which are basically like these vat-grown baby things that they put like cybernetic wings and like stuff on, and they'll like fly around like little angel babies, like giving them their weapons and stuff. You know,
it looks like actual babies, so they're
usually like vat-grown, like experiment. They're like science lab baby things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or babies that were supposed to die or gonna die. They just reuse them for another purpose.
Yeah, reuse them.
Yeah, no, the Imperium's fucked up, by the way. Let's just get that straight. Like, they're not good. Okay.
Yeah.
But they're the best that we have, kind of, maybe, not really. One more thing for the Sister of Battle vibes. They have this basically like battle deployable church, which they'll float in space.
Oh Yeah.
and then they drop them into orbit. And then the church, like a drop pod, crashes into the battlefield, and the gates will fall down, and Sisters of Battle will pour out. And then, you know the gargoyles that sit on the edge of churches?
Uh-huh.
The gargoyles will come out, and they'll spew out holy water to, like, spray the enemy with. And then they'll play holy music that blasts out of the church. And then guns will come out of the church and start firing at everything.
What the fuck are they doing?
So
But-
they're metal as fuck. They're awesome.
But it also shows how the messed up the universe is right now.
Right, like that's how the church functions.
Yeah.
That's how they spread the gospel, by brutally genociding everything that does not comply or is alien, for instance. But that's the vibes. They're super ultra mega religious, Catholicism out the wazoo, Christian themes everywhere, but like super grimdark and intense and over the top exaggerated Christian themes,
Yeah.
But it's f***ing awesome. Their models are beautiful, their lore is super cool. Like, they're just all around one of the best factions in
And
the
they
game.
finally have their Saint Celeste.
Celestine. Saint Celestine.
Saint Celestine.
One of their holy martyrs, and one of the god emperor's wrathful angels. She's super, super awesome. We'll save her for another episode. She
Right.
deserves her own episodes. Her story is insane. So that's Sisters of Battle for you. Now, it's getting late, and my voice is getting tired, and I know that you're getting tired too.
Yeah.
I love talking about Warhammer, and I love talking about these factions. But what have you thought so far?
Really interesting. I thought I had an idea of some of these, and it made me realize that, oh shit, there's more out there.
There's so much more. You have no idea. There's so much more. Before we close out, I want to make sure that I covered the basics, because while I was talking, I'm trying to let this flow naturally. I want to get really comfortable with very authentic podcasts. I don't want to write scripts or plans or have planned bits. Not my thing,
Mm-hmm.
I want this to be really natural, even if it means our first couple episodes are a little clunkier than maybe they should be. But it's authentic. But what do you think? What are Space Marines to you right now?
Super boost humans.
Super boosted
Basically.
humans. Okay. Kind of right, kind of not. You know what I mean? There's some Space Marine fan going out there. No! They're
You're
not
wrong!
human at all. They don't think of themselves as human,
Okay.
by the way. But they are technically whatever. So, superhuman soldiers. Superhuman knight soldiers. Okay, Necrons.
Necrons. Old man. Oh, human. Oh, old aliens.
Old angry aliens
Yes.
is what you think of them. Okay.
They got a little betrayed on the deal
Mm-hmm.
that make them turn into what they are now.
Mhm.
And also they just want to take a fat nap. Got woke up. Somebody got killed.
Okay, you know what? You know enough. I'm pretty. The Space Marine one was like, oh god, maybe I didn't tell her anything that mattered. And then the Necrons, you're like, they're old dudes who just want to sleep and got betrayed. And they're like, actually, you know what? You kind of got most of the basics there. Super advanced.
Yeah, super advanced. Totally. Yeah.
And awesome, by the way. Like, they are totally sick and rad, and you should get an army of Necrons, by the way.
I do have an army. I just haven't put the points.
Yeah.
Points.
You need more points.
I do want to get the big the dude that has like electricity going through him.
The Void Dragon. Oh, we didn't even cover the Void Dragon. We're not covering the Void Dragon this episode. What do you think of the Tyranids?
Tyranids. Big man.
So you think
They-
that they're fat as fuck, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah, that's...
Whoever they're getting all those, because I think they have a purpose, which is to gather all the resources.
all resources possible.
But why do they need so many?
As far as we can tell, that they're very primal instincts.
Mhm.
We need more food to create more of us to then go eat more. That's about it.
So Big Macs.
Big Macs. There's not... They don't have a super genius behind them that's creating some plant. No, they're just eating.
Also,
They just don't care. But
Yeah.
continue.
Another thing is that everything, ships, their guns, they're living organ. They're living.
All of it's living organisms. Every single bit. There's not a single thing that's not animate.
I did not know that.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah. Damn. Imagine
Cool,
just
huh?
seeing one of them coming towards you, and you're like,
And they shoot out tiny little Tyranids that then eat their way through the armor.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's fucked up. It's not okay.
Yeah.
What do you think of Sisters of Battle, our closing faction?
This is better. Crazy.
Yeah, they
Crazy.
are absolutely insane.
love their what's it called, the intro when they
Yeah,
make
that's
your
not the only way that they answer into battle, but that's just an example of
yeah.
how f***ing insane they are and like how they do things. Yeah,
And
everything is that
I
exaggerated.
love the logic. Oh, they never said men.
Yeah,
So,
women.
us women,
Yeah,
the
right,
nuns. But also the fact that they're basically normal, like
right.
us. They've just been training. They have
Better
armor,
gear,
better gear, yeah.
but they are essentially they're just human beings. Like at
Mhm.
the end of the day, they are just straight up humans.
That's pretty cool.
But they're badass chicks that are super well trained, super well trained. They're commonly applied as medics. By the way, they have a lot of medics in their religious orders, so they heal a lot of people while also being really good at killing things. They have different holy orders with different paint schemes and different applications and tactics, like all of the
Mhm.
factions, by the way, have different paint schemes and different applications of tactics depending on how they break up their groups, right? They're awesome. They're nuns
Yes.
with guns.
This is my first army that ended up getting more points.
Fantastic first army choice, by the way. It's fucking
Yes.
awesome. All right. So after this, do you feel interested in learning more?
Yes.
Are you excited about learning other factions?
Yes.
Is there a faction that after today's talk you like even more than you originally did, or you think might be your new favorite?
I think the Necron.
The Necrons?
Like I had an idea what they were, but I was like, oh, I'll get into you guys soon. But now I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Are they the ones you're most excited about learning more of?
yes.
Is there a faction that we didn't talk about today that you are super excited to learn in the next episode?
The vampire ones. You know which one I'm talking
Blood
about?
Angels?
Yes.
Oh, they're a part of Space Marines. They need their own episode.
Ah.
I'm not gonna get into every chapter. I can't. Like, if I cover one chapter, I have to cover the other chapters,
Mhm.
and we're not doing that right now.
Other than that, um, there was I guess the one that the the Thousand Suns.
The Thousand Suns.
Yes, I mean we literally have boxes of them.
Ooh la la. The Servants of Zinch. All right, maybe we'll open with them next time.
Okay.
I'm trying to let you decide for a lot of these factions, and then the ones that you're don't even know exist or at least interested about, I can carry the conversation or carry the direction of the conversations for the last couple of parts. We covered 4 factions in this episode. Hopefully next episode we can cover a couple more and I can get a little bit more concise with the rest of the factions, because I don't want this to be like an 8-part thing, or I don't want this to make up a whole season on our podcast,
Yeah.
But don't worry, for anybody who wants more conversations that differ from just primers on factions for Leo and beginners' sakes, we'll sprinkle in a couple more this month so that you can get some variety. I think we'll figure it out. We'll figure out how we record these, but don't worry, much more will be coming soon on the podcast, and I can't wait to hear your guys' thoughts. Any closing thoughts, baby?
No, just here chilling,
Nice.
vibing. Almost died from all this information. My brain was frying.
I get you. I get it. I have a slight headache. One, because I'm really dry. I need more
Yeah.
water. And my brain is working overtime on the spot on deciding what is actually valuable enough to keep
Yeah.
in to like talk about and what isn't necessary. And I don't know if I balanced that perfectly for every faction, but I tried my best. If you guys
Yeah.
think I missed anything, make sure to let me know down below in the comments. And if you're excited about seeing the next episode, also comment that down below. If you want to see more of me or any of my content, you can find me at Shaker40K on most sites except for X or Twitter. There I'm at T1Shaker. But that's on all of my channel, on all of my different social medias. I post about Warhammer all the time, or I try to. So, yeah. Do you have anything, Leo?
Just have a great day.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you can find her. You can find her here every week. But all right, guys.
I see.
We'll see you next time.